Yo, what's up? We out here. It's another doctoral vlog. This is year 3, day 2, point number 5. And this one really hit on multiple levels because when it comes to religion, religious practice, more often than not, they end up focusing on what you're supposed to do. It's a compliance culture. So you come in, you get the rules, even within most religions, I would say, if there's some kind of, for Adventism and for Christians, it's variations on baptism, right? I'm not really sure what those kind of entry or acceptance rituals might be in some other faiths. But we do have it to where people have a statement that they're supposed to, yes, I believe this, yes, I agree with this, yes, before they get kind of invited in and before they can actually experience the baptism, right? But what that often ends up creating, like I said, is this emphasis on what we're supposed to do rather than who we should be. And we end up thinking that the doing is going to influence or drive who we become, as opposed to the reality, which is who we become will direct and drive the things that we do. And that's a theme that you're going to hear in a lot of these different videos. But I think one of the big ways in this particular point for this video, one of the big ways that this really gets us is not just in bad ways. See, some people like to serve, and because we want to be like Jesus, we look at those around us and we see the needs and we see what people are struggling with, and we want to be at the front line of everything that's going on. So we end up stretching out in this direction to help someone, stretching out in that direction to help someone, going over here, rushing over there, needing to be a part of this, needing to be a part of that. And it's easy to feel this burden and this kind of thought process as we look around us at what's going on, that the weight of the world is on my shoulders and I have to do something about it. Dr. Sanu said one of the funniest things I'd ever heard in a class. And he jokes about his accent, so I'm not going to try to replicate his accent, but I will say hearing him say this in his accent made everybody in the class laugh. And the statement was, you have to remember, you are not Jesus Christ. You are not Jesus Christ. And you hear it, it sounds so weird to hear because it's obvious. But when you think about it in the context of all of this doing and the things that we think we should do that are so good, in Adventism, we have a huge emphasis on mission, or I would like to think that we have a huge emphasis on mission. Go ye therefore, the gospel commission, teach all nations. So that means traveling out here. That means doing things over here. It means going out into your local community. If you look at the ratio of the membership of those who are missionaries compared to those who are not, it's a very small percentage. It would be easy for the missionaries to feel like they have the weight of the world on their shoulders and that there's so much for them to do that everyone else is not doing, and that there's a lot of slack that needs to be picked up. But because it's not, they feel the burden to do more and to end up almost burning out because they feel like, if I don't go out to this country and stay there for 5-10 years, who else is going to do it? But the thing is, and this kind of ties into the other video too, it's not the church's mission, it's God's mission, and he can complete it. If God can make stones cry out to glorify him, then I'm pretty sure he doesn't need me to accomplish what he wants to do. He'd love for me to join in with that, but he doesn't expect me to join in and to burn myself out and to end up. There are countless examples in early Adventist history of preachers who took on this burden, feeling like they needed to travel here and travel there and do this and speak here and speak there and all this kind of stuff. And it ended up being a detriment to their health. In some cases, these individuals and pioneers ended up dying or passing away. In other cases, their families ended up struggling and suffering because of the strain put on them due to the traveling minister. It's not what God intended. It's not what God wanted. If God tells us the priorities, and even when we look at Genesis, I think we can see evidence of this. There's God, the family, and then the responsibility that he gives us, right? And we would hope that God is the first priority, but the family's right up there too. Our partners who are created in God's image. And then after that is the task. Because if I have God first and then I have the task above my family, well, the gospel message and the good news ends up, I might be able to reach a whole lot of people with that, but it's actually bad news for my family. And it hurts them more than it helps. So there's a hierarchy to these things that actually matters. And the key is that God is aware of that, because I am not Jesus Christ. You are not Jesus Christ. He can do things that we cannot do. And we can depend on him to do the things that we can't do. So we don't have to put ourselves in that position to where everybody should be dependent on us. We should be willing to open up and look for others who have expertise in other areas. I think of this class I had, pastoral counseling, a few years ago, where the professor and a few of the students in the class were suggesting that pastors should not hire them, but seek out those who actually had counseling experience, or seek to gain counseling experience themselves, to even so far as being certified, so that they could help with certain issues that members may have. And it's a people issue. Everyone has issues and things that they need to work through. But just because someone is a pastor doesn't mean that they can take on everything. There are skill sets, there's knowledge, there are things that need to be learned that can help us better handle difficulties and challenges in other situations. And it's more than arrogant of me to say, well, because I'm a pastor, because I'm a minister, I'm qualified to do A, B, and C all the way through Z. No, that's how you mess people up, because you don't have the right experience. You don't have the right understanding. You don't know how to handle these things, even though you arrogantly think you do. You are not Jesus Christ. I am not Jesus Christ. Be willing to delegate. Be willing to open up the circle of influence, because it's not about me anyway. If that person gets helped, that person getting the help should be the first priority, not if I'm the one getting the credit for helping them. So when it comes to discipleship, which is the point of this class, you can see how the guiding process in helping people through spirituality, you can see why that particular mindset and perspective is so important. And I'll close with this. I remember as the chaplain out in Palau, I loved what I was doing out there, and it felt good to know that I was making a difference. But when it came time to leave, my parting message was actually on Elijah and Elisha, the passing of the mantle. I wanted the students to know that, because I didn't want the ministry to die with me when I left. I wanted them to know that the mission and the chaplain position was bigger than Corey. And I wanted them to know that whoever comes next, you're going to have great opportunities to learn new things from. And it doesn't have to be me, so that you can learn. And I believe that I was able to communicate that well, and to pass off the torch and the mantle well. And the individual who ended up succeeding me out there ended up being out there for a couple of years, doing her thing and having a great time. And to me, that's how it should be. The mission is always bigger than me, not me than the mission. It doesn't need me to succeed. I play my part, I play my role, and I keep it pushing. And if there's other people who can come in to assist with that, awesome, because it's not about me and it's not my mission. I am not Jesus Christ. You are not Jesus Christ. But Jesus is, and it's his mission, and it's about him. So whatever we can do, if there's less of us and more of him, that's how we win. That's how we succeed. And we'll find that our own ministry ends up having a wider reach because we're willing to open up our hands and share in the process. So let me know what you think down below. It's an interesting concept. You are not Jesus Christ. Funny words, but true. I am not Jesus Christ. But hey, plenty more things to consider and to think about. And I'll catch you in those videos, all right? Like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.